Photography is an art of teleporting the past into the future, as said by Mehmet Murat Ildan. This means that photography preserves memories that are forever gone. With this, I welcome you to Creative Lounge. My name is Ahmed Mohamed Bello. On today's episode of Creative Lounge, we have the founder of Abuja Photo Fest. He's someone who is renowned with this festival. He's an international curator and is someone who, loves social change. He uses his photography as a tool for social change. His name is Osaze. You're welcome, Mr. Osaze.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed.
Yeah, it's nice to have you here.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm all right.
You look good.
Thank you. You look great too.
Thank you.
You've achieved, so much. What does it feel like to have achieved this much? Being an international curator, the convener of Abuja Photo Fest, you've done so much internationally. What does it feel like to be in this position? I envy you.
Thank you. Well, we're just getting started.
Okay.
We're just getting started. What we've done, it's about six years going, 7 now. But they've been photo festivals, they've been art events that have lasted decades. But however, the baby steps that we've taken, it's looking back to see the impact that our work has made, the lives that our work has touched. We are excited that we're creating something meaningful that is connecting and adding value to the society. We look at the young people that we are mentoring and that we have mentored. We see how their careers have moved from where we first met them and where they are now. We are happy to have contributed to their journey. But however, we still have a million miles to go. But it feels good that some of the things that we're doing, it's being noticed by the international community, it's being noticed by the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And they give us thumbs up, and we know that it's still a lot to be done, but happy to have been recognized by what we've done so far.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I know you to, have a niche, which is visual storytelling, documentary photography. What is visual storytelling?
Visual storytelling, like it is visual storytelling, three words put together, is the art of using imageries. Critical part of it is photography, because paintings are also part of visual storytelling. Is to use visual art to communicate an idea, to communicate a certain philosophy, to communicate a certain belief, a certain worldview. Yes, there are oral storytelling, there are literal storytelling, then visual storytelling using pictures. But in the entire pack of storytelling, visual storytelling is so critical because we live in a generation that is so imagery. Thankfully, the social media. People would rather see a picture than read the attending narrative. People would rather see a picture than even listen audially, orally rather, through audiobooks or audio narration of a story. So that makes visual storytelling such a powerful force. These days, people see things. They see things on social media and react before they read to see what the context of the conversation is. So that makes visual storytelling such a powerful tool that can be used either for good or otherwise. So it's actually the art of using pictures to tell story, and the end game of visual storytelling is to shift mindset, to make people think different, to make you see the world differently. So when that is effectively done, there's no limit to the impact.
So storytelling in photography is documentary photography, right?
Documentary is just part of it. So wedding photography, portrait photography, everything photography is actually visual storytelling. So I could do a portrait of you to convey a certain view about you, just a portrait. There's a way we'll play with lights that will make you look like a villain. There's a way we'll play with light that will make you look like a victim. Just your portrait. Weddings. So the photographer covers the wedding from when the bride is doing the makeup till, the DJ starts playing the music at the reception and everybody starts going home. So the photographer tells the entire story. So she goes back after 10 years and look at the pictures of our wedding and she rereads through visual interaction, the entire story of her wedding day. 20 years later, people get to see those pictures and oh, this person was at your wedding. Oh, this person who has passed on was at your wedding. So it brings it all alive. So documentary photography is just an aspect of the entire bouquet of photography and the entire bouquet of visual storytelling.
Okay. So as a documentary photographer, how do you make your work relevant?
There are a couple of ways as a documentary photographer I will make my work relevant. First is to understand what the issues are. So photography is actually a tool. Photography is a vehicle.
Okay.
So with a truck, you can move loads of bags of cement. With that same truck, you could use it to move bags of rice. With that same truck, you use it to move bags of money. So the vehicle itself, it's photography. It is what it conveys that makes it powerful. So as a documentary photographer, I could walk into a space and tell a particular narrative using my lens, using my camera to tell a particular narrative that suits an agenda that I want to push. The agenda that is being pushed, the idea that is being communicated, it's just an aspect of the truth, not the entire truth. All right?
Aspect of the
an
truth.
aspect of the truth, not the entire truth. So there is a way they can document this place where we are now, and the other people in this space will not be shown. But does that mean they were not here?
I get you.
Do you understand? So documentary photography becomes a burden on the photographer to be able to tell as much as possible his truth in connection with the truth. So a documentary photography it's you make your work relevant by understanding the story that you want to tell. Then you make your work relevant and how you artistically communicate your thoughts. So that's where you know how to play with light, how to play with perspective, with texture, with patterns. All right, because you want your audience to be able to see your work and have a connection with it. So you make your work relevant by being artistically strategic, artistically aware, artistically involved. And so you have your beliefs, you have your ideas you want to push. It has to be relevant to what the whole agenda is. Then you artistically convey it in the best possible way. So those are the two ways primarily you make your work.
Okay. So how do you think having international relevance, impacts in the photographer's journey from your own experience?
It's very critical. I was in the US in December. So on a sponsored trip by the US Embassy to see the art space in the US. And that journey blew my mind. And it just took my mind to a whole different level to see what people are doing on a grand scale. Now that is what international exposure gives. It just opens your mind to see that where you are, great as it is, you're still a way off to what's playing internationally. Yes, local stories needs to be told, but local stories become more effective when told from international perspective. Because you have seen the big picture, you now know where your local narrative fits in. So for a photographer, it's important that as much as possible, yes, not everybody will be that opportune to travel abroad, self-funded or organizationally funded. But thankfully, technology has made some of these things possible. So a photographer can watch as many videos as possible. A photographer should sign up for international trainings as possible. There are a lot of free trainings out there that organizations organize. So through there, you meet people who are doing stuff at that level, and you are able to peep into their mind. Peeping into their mind then gives you a semblance of what is obtained, out there. So it is very important that the photographer invest as much as possible, and even travels. Now, speaking of international exposure, it doesn't have to be the US, it doesn't have to be the Europe. You could do an ECOWAS trip. Just travel through the ECOWAS countries and see what is happening in Togo, see what's happening in Senegal. And Senegal, by the way, is a very, very artistic country. And I just say more artistic than Nigeria.
I'm aware.
So you, as a photographer, you can travel by road to these West Africa countries. You have your passport, and that gives you access beyond the borders of Nigeria. So save up for it. You know, you can do it alone. The photographer can do it alone, or go with the company of another. Travel, see what other people are doing, and trust me, aside the images he or she will make in the course of the journey, he's going to see what other people are doing in those other clients, and that will expand his mind to see how what he does here in Nigeria gets better.
Well, not everybody can get very lucky. You know, I have seen photographers who even use their phone. They don't have access to cameras. They use their phones to document, you know. But not everybody has access to grants.
Yes.
Some of them wish to travel. They wish to go to somewhere like Nigeria and document their festivals. They wish to travel to somewhere like Chad, but they don't have access to grants. What would you advise they do? Like, how do they have access to such opportunities, fundings, and all those things?
The funding part is quite it's quite a very challenging one, I must say. The photographer, first of all, had to have the work that is worth funding.
Okay.
All right. Funders, donors, they don't just put money out there. They look for a body of work, or a photographer who is doing stuff around what they are also interested in. That's why it's very important for photographers to read, and read very well. So when the photographer understands what a donor wants, and he has previous work, or he's interested in doing work around those narratives, that catches their attention. Then secondly, the photographer has to be very artistically cool.
Cool, okay.
You know, his work has to be such that holds the viewer's attention. So what he or she can do then is to now leverage on social media.
Okay.
Leverage on social media. So when you post materials on Instagram, particularly on Twitter, tag as many of these people as possible. Then have a list of donor agencies that funds artistic project, that funds photographic project or photographic trips. Go to their website, study it as much as possible, check for their grant windows, because you usually have grant windows. Then get their email address, and sometimes just randomly send your portfolio
to them.
You know, just they may not always reply, but they see, and that's one thing that I have also noticed. What with that Abuja Photo Festival? You know, so day before yesterday.
We'll go on a short break. When we come back, that's Photo Festival. We'll talk about it. Please, we'll be right back. You're welcome back, and Still Creative Lounge. We have Mr. Osaze in the house. Shortly before we went on break, you were talking about the Abuja Photo Fest. I want you to elaborate on it. What purpose does it really serve?
Thank you for the question. The Abuja Photo Festival, which began in 2017, is the mecca of photography in Abuja and of course in Nigeria, that usually have 400 to 500 photographers come from all parts of Nigeria to attend. The photo festival, it's a week-long event, even though we're exploring to making it a month now, where everything photography is like a buffet of photography. So you have trainings, you have workshops, you have photo exhibitions, you have photo walk, you have town hall sessions where we bring creatives, we bring the development agencies, and we bring government together to look at the social issues, because everything we do at the photo festival is using photography to speak to social gaps in the society. So the photo festival gives a platform to young creatives who may not have opportunity to have their exhibitions. Secondly, who may not have opportunity to meet some of the mentors. So for example, we've had Kelechi Amadi, we've had George Osodi, we have Andrew Siebo. These are guys that we've had Obisonto, we've had Hakim Salam.
These are top guys.
These are top guys who are doing stuff internationally. There are people that young creatives see on social media, but we bring these mentors in to come spend a week in Abuja just sharing their experience with these guys, sharing thoughts with them. So we build their capacity, we showcase their work, and we give them the exposures that ordinarily they may not find. Now, it is so relevant because it's igniting careers of young photographers. So there's a guy in Lagos at the moment, Mayor Otu. Mayor Otu took night bus to attend the very first photo festival. He exhibited some of his works, and from there, he made some relationship. He didn't go back to Uyo, Akwa Ibom, where he came from. He went straight to Lagos from Abuja. And Mayor Otto is doing fantastically well right now. There are a whole lot of other young people who have attended the photo festival, and that big brought about the change. Yeah, in their country. So for us, this is what I started the photo festival with, of course, with my team, and not just me, even though I may be the face, because we needed a space like this. When we started out doing photography, we didn't have Abuja Photo Festival or a photo festival like that in Abuja. So we said, why don't we create something like that? So that need is what brought about the photo festival. And a lot of young people who were thinking the same thing are now plugging in to see their career escalate. So the photo festival is very relevant to the creative community and to the Abuja landscape, Abuja artistic landscape generally, because some of the works that we do here are seen internationally, and that brings attention to the artistic space in Abuja.
I think I'll attend the next one. When is it coming up? October.
Yes,
okay.
October. The whole of October.
Okay. I know you recently had a workshop.
Yes.
For IDPs.
Yes.
Yeah. What was it about precisely?
It was about using photography as an empowering tool for these young girls who have seen very dark days because of the insurgency in the Northeast. So what we did is a project we started last year. We call it For Women by Girls.
Okay.
So we go to the camp and talk to, of course, the camp, work with the camp management and get us young girls who have basic education and are interested in photography, because that was the criteria that we used, teenage girls. So we taught them for 4 days how to, for the first time they were holding cameras, how to operate a camera, what photography is. Of course, the basic, we act as much as we can today, to basic with it. We didn't use the technicalities and all of that. At some point, we will have to use Hausa to really facilitate some of the classes so that they can get what we're saying. So what we did was to give these guys these cameras and ask them to document what hope, what beauty
looks like to them.
Looks like to them. What is their interpretation of their hopes and dreams of who they want to become within the environment of the camp? So they were given cameras and they were just going around the camp documenting stories. By the time they were done, these images were exhibited. We had an exhibition, a photo exhibition in the camp. Last year it was the Duremi camp, then this year is the Malaysian camp in Apo.
Okay.
So they even issued certificates, but we didn't just end there. We now had a photo exhibition of their images in Wuse 2. There's an art gallery in Wuse 2 where we posted the exhibition, where the images were sold, and the money, the proceeds from these images were given to these girls just to support them. So for us, photography is not just to walk into the studio and take pictures. We are driven by the passion to use photography to add value to the development of the society, because photography can be more than just Instagram, than just selfie, than just even weddings, I may say. So this is what drives what we do at Abuja Photo Festival and at For Humanity Foundation.
Wow. I'm really proud of you. You're doing something amazingly great,
Thank you.
There are so many people who want to venture into photography, but usually they're scared of, how do I get my works in the right places? News agencies, magazines, publications. How does one channel his works to the right places?
It's a journey, right? But you have to be dogged. You have to be determined. You have to learn not to take no for an answer. You have to learn to knock on doors. So Nigerian media houses, walk up to them, submit your portfolio. Of course, Daily Trust, Vanguard, Punch, they have their photographers, all right? But it won't do you any harm if you submit your portfolio. Let them see your work, and you never can tell where a call will come from. They need international media houses too. So you post your work on social media, tag them, send them link of your work. Let them just be in their face, not just media houses, even the United Nations, even the other development organizations. Just be in their face, be in their space by just constantly pushing your work.
Pushing.
Yeah, just keep pushing, Somebody somewhere is going to see your work one day and say, there's this guy, let's reach out to him. And you never can tell what that will lead to. Like I always tell artists, don't just be good in photography, be good with selling. You must master the art of selling. You must master the art of communication. And that's why it's very key for the photographers to read, to build other skills that now serve as an auxiliary to support your artistic ability. So one of the things that have helped even my own career is that I walk into offices and I tell them I'm the best photographer in Abuja. I'm able to communicate. I'm able to talk. I'm able to sell them the idea that I can take good pictures. Of course, I can take good pictures. So that is very key as a photographer. You must learn how to sell. If a photographer would not sell, he may not eat until the person becomes so big that people are the ones looking for him. But for time being, you must know how to put yourself out there.
So just keep being in people's faces.
Being in social spaces. Their WhatsApp group. Let people know that you're a photographer. You're in church, you're in mosque. Let people know that you're a photographer.
One day they would call you.
One day they will call. Just let people know that you're a photographer.
Yeah. I'm going to take one more question. We have very little time. I know you're, really strong on dynamism, culture, international relevance. How has photography impacted, cultural dynamism?
Like I said in my opening, photography is a vehicle. It's quite unfortunate that in Nigeria we don't value our sense of history.
Okay.
It's very unfortunate, because if we were a people who treasure our history, good or bad, we will be able to now use photography, because these whole things are gender pushing, cultural dominant. One of the ways the United States have dominated the world is through Hollywood. They've been able to use Hollywood to give us a perception of what America is. So that is what visual storytelling, that's the role it plays in shaping perceptions nationally. Look at the dress style of our young people, influenced by Western culture.
True.
Because of what they see being pushed out visually, either social media or traditional media. So it is very important that we use the tool of photography intentionally to push a particular culture about Nigeria. Yes, so what? Nigeria is seen as a corrupt country, but there are other good things about us. How are we pushing that intentionally? America is not heaven. They have their issues, a lot of issues. But you'll see movies on Hollywood that makes the United States look like, that makes other countries, that makes the UK look like. Look at what they do with 007, James Bond. Look at what England does with James Bond for every time they release a movie. So it's important as Africans, we find what makes us so unique, use visual storytelling to push it and push it and push it before the eyes of the rest of the world, because that begins to shape and influence how they see us.
Interesting. So lastly, just say something to photographers out there. There are so many people who are, happy to see you on this show, and they want to hear something inspiring from you.
For every photographer out there, I want you to know that your work matters. What you do is you're not wasting your time. I know the money may not be coming, the recognition may not be coming, but if what you're doing is not necessarily for the money and not necessarily for the recognition, someday, trust me, someday you'll make tons and tons of money from your art, and you will get the recognition that you need. Just keep creating excellently. Just keep pushing out the right stuff. Keep building relationship. Keep creative content, and it will be your turn one day.
Thank you, Mr. Osaze. I feel like being a photographer now. I think I'll get a camera and start my.
We'll be happy to have you.
My own journey. I could still be a photographer. I'm not too old.
Oh no, not at all.
It's really a pleasure having you on the show.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is how much you can take today. You heard what he said. Just keep pushing. If you're a photographer, keep being in social spaces. Send your works to websites. Send them to media houses. One day they will reach out to you. You're not too old. You're not too poor to to do something for yourself. You can make it. And Abuja Photo Fest is always there. Their next event is in October, so you can always hop on. So join us same time next week for another episode of Creative Lounge. I remain Ahmed Mohamed Bello. Bye for now.